how did you select Colombia of all the places? All of there's amazing places. Colombia is an incredible country. I love it. It's beautiful. But how did you select it out of all the different places?
Yeah, that's a great question. We looked at a lot of places in Southeast Asia, Thailand, Malaysia. We looked at other places in Latin America, from and Central America, Belize, Costa Rica, Panama, all over the place. And we settled in Colombia primarily because of the culture.
Okay.
Uh, I mean, you can find nice people everywhere, and you can find not so nice people everywhere. But I remember I was on the first visit to Medellin. I was standing at an elevator, and the door opened, and I stepped in, and people said, "Buenas."
Yeah.
And I realized that every time somebody entered and exited a room or an elevator or whatever, there was this warmth, this courtesy. And it's not just BS. It's not like
No.
just fake. They actually are greeting one another at a cultural level on the regular. Everyone is so nice. You first meet someone, buenos dias, ¿cómo están? That is the beginning of every dialogue. I don't care if you're paying your electric bill,
Yeah.
okay?
Yeah.
That's going to be the start of the conversation.
Yeah.
And I just love that.
Hi, can Ernest and I ask you a favor? If you find our content helpful, please hit that subscribe and like button. It truly helps us grow and it makes Ernest happy. All right, so today we are heading down to the beautiful country of Colombia with my new friend Wayne. Wayne, how are you?
Doing well, Ray. How are you?
Good, man. Thanks for doing this. Thanks for taking time out of your day to be a part of the podcast. I truly appreciate it. Let's start out by you just giving a little backstory about who you are, where you're from, and why you left the U.S.
Okay, sure. Well, I'm retired, although in all honesty, I completely suck at it. So I still have my little side projects and consulting and stuff that I do in the tech space here and there. Um, but decided to leave the US just to find a little bit better bang for the buck, if you will. I mean, that was one characteristic of it. But probably more importantly was just tired of the divisive dramas and all that that's going on. And it just seemed like a good time to find a place for a nice time out. And a little bit slower pace and just a different cultural vibe.
Okay. So, have you chosen your destination and are ready to take the next step toward living abroad? Now comes the hard part, navigating the immigration process. What documents do you need? Which ones require apostilles or certified translations? What are the residency requirements? What steps need to happen first? And how do you avoid costly mistakes that can delay your move? That's where we come in. At Adventure Freaks, we've partnered with trusted vetted immigration attorneys and residency experts in countries around the world to help make your transition abroad as smooth as possible. Simply visit adventurefreaksss.com, scroll down to where you see Your Move Abroad, and click on the Trusted Legal Advisor. You'll answer a few quick questions and schedule a free consultation to discuss your specific situation and goals. Check it out at adventurefreaksss.com. We're here to help you throughout your journey on moving abroad. Now let's get back to the video. Okay, well, so you landed in Colombia. Where in Colombia are you?
Well, I'm in Medellin,
Okay,
Colombia, and actually currently this moment living up in the mountains surrounding Medellin,
okay.
um, at about almost 8,000 feet of elevation. And so it's a little bit cooler, and it's a little bit quieter. I guess if you don't count roosters and chainsaws, it's quieter.
Yeah.
Uh, but it's far out of town. But I'm moving very soon, next week, down into Medellin proper, into an area called Laos,
Okay.
and that's going to be a nice change. Got a nice little place down there with a rooftop view, and
Hmm.
yeah, it'll be fun.
Do you find that there's any issue with breathing at the elevation that you're at currently, or is it not an issue?
I think there is an issue for anybody that goes up to a higher elevation. You need to stay well hydrated and you need to take it easy for the first 2 or 3 days that you're in there. I lived in Colorado for many years,
Okay.
at a higher elevation, and elevation is elevation, regardless of your latitude, right? So
Hmm.
it's if somebody's got a heart condition or a lung problem or something like that. I don't have any of those things, so it was less of a hassle.
Yeah.
Uh, but there's definitely an adjustment period, even in Medellin. Medellin is basically about the elevation of Denver in the
Yeah.
States.
Okay. So, all right. So now you're going to go down a little bit further in elevation, but Medellin is known for this eternal spring type weather, which a lot
That's
of
right.
retirees love. I mean, it's like a 70-degree kind of vibe year round. So is it going to get a little bit warmer where you're going?
Oh, there's no question. I mean, it gets cold where I'm at every night,
Okay.
into the 50s. And most of the fincas and cabins and whatnot that you find in this neck of the woods aren't particularly well insulated. And as you can see, I've got a lot of glass. This is a big sliding window behind me, which is wonderful during the day when it's 75 degrees.
Yeah.
But at night when it's 55 degrees, maybe not so much.
Yeah.
So there's a big temperature swing. Well, we're not going to see that down in Medellin. It's just not going to get as cool. And it's probably going to get a little bit hotter. So that's okay. That's why God made ceiling fans.
Yeah. Yeah. So here's what I'm curious about. And before we dive into the rest of the questions, just out of curiosity, Wayne, how did you select Colombia of all the places? All of there's amazing places. Colombia is an incredible country. I love it. It's beautiful. But how did you select it out of all the different places?
Yeah, that's a great question. We looked at a lot of places in Southeast Asia, Thailand, Malaysia. We looked at other places in Latin America, from and Central America, Belize, Costa Rica, Panama, all over the place. And we settled in Colombia primarily because of the culture.
Okay.
Uh, I mean, you can find nice people everywhere, and you can find not so nice people everywhere. But I remember I was on the first visit to Medellin. I was standing at an elevator, and the door opened, and I stepped in, and people said, "Buenas," and I realized they were talking to me, and I'm like, "Oh, okay, yeah, Buenas." And then somebody got off the elevator and said, "Hasta luego," and I'm like, okay. And I looked around. These people don't know each other. They certainly don't know me.
Yeah.
And I realized that every time somebody entered and exited a room or an elevator or whatever, there was this warmth, this courtesy. And it's not just BS. It's not like
No.
just fake. They actually are greeting one another at a cultural level on the regular. Everyone is so nice. You first meet someone, buenos dias, ¿cómo están? That is the beginning of every dialogue. I don't care if you're paying your electric bill,
Yeah.
okay?
Yeah.
That's going to be the start of the conversation.
Yeah.
And I just love that.
Yeah. Yeah. That's one of the things I think from our era, like I remember that in the 70s and 80s in the US. And it's just very different now. It's
That's
just
right.
it's just very, very different. And you and I, we were talking prior to recording this. We both lived in New York City. I remember moving to New York City. I lived there for 9 years, and it was a very different vibe from growing up in the Midwest, where people were short, they were curt, they weren't very friendly, they didn't say thank you or welcome. When you purchase stuff in the bodega, all this stuff, it was like a different world in New York. It's a hard, but now it seems like everything's become New York in the US to me. Like people just don't say hello. They don't say thank you. They don't hold the doors. It's a very different world today. And so, yeah, Colombia is a very warm, friendly culture, and a lot of people are attracted to it because of that. Let's look at the visa. So you had to obtain a visa moving there. What visa are you on, and was there an income requirement?
Yeah, that's a great question. I'm on the pensionado visa. There is an income requirement. It's basically you have to show a lifetime income that is more than three times the minimum wage, the annual minimum wage in Colombia. And that's a little bit of a moving target. The last president raised the minimum wage just this year, 2026, raised it 25%.
Yes.
So some people that were here on that pensionado visa that were right on the cusp, nah, they weren't over the line anymore. They had to rethink how they were going to be in Colombia. Um, so I'm not that close. I've got a little more headroom, but basically the dividing line, if my memory serves, it's like 1,400 a month or something like that now. It was, maybe 12 or 12 something previously, but that comes and goes, right? They can change that at any time, and it's annual. So you'll have to requalify for that visa with the FBI background check, and all of the requirements are the same each and every year.
Hmm.
I use a local lawyer to help with that process. She's just super great at it. She keeps me on the straight and narrow. She doesn't let me forget anything. She knows how to handle all the things, even though I'm not going back to the States to get like the FBI, for instance. Um, so we're doing it all remotely. That's a little bit different.
Yeah.
And you only have a 90-day window to get it all done in. So from the time that you start, like let's say with the FBI background check, you've got 90 days for that whole process to be squared away.
Hmm.
So you need to make sure that you're doing everything in the right order and at the right time so that you don't miss that window. Because if on the 91st day, you get to start all over.
Yeah, and I think things are continually evolving, especially in Colombia, where we do here at Adventure Freaks recommend people um, work with a lawyer. If you go to adventurefreaks.com, we have Mateo, who's our trusted legal advisor, and he can guide you if you're interested in moving to Colombia as well. So, Wayne, what does your monthly budget actually look like? It looks like you have a beautiful place. You got an incredible view with a nice little terrace there. What does the monthly budget look like? Talking rental, your rent, groceries, utilities, all in. What do you think you pay?
I would say that all in, and I'm not on what I would consider to be the minimum budget levels. I mean,
Sure.
you hear people talk about, oh, you can live for 1,500 a month all in. I was like,
Yeah.
really? Wow, okay, good for you. I can't because I'm not going to live that way. I didn't come
Yeah.
to Colombia to live in uh like a ragamuffin kind of thing. I came here because I want to be able to have a more affluent experience in my later years, not a less affluent experience. And so
Yes.
I want a housekeeper. I'm going to go out for meals quite a bit.
Hmm.
I've got a car, which
Hmm.
now that I'm moving back into Medellin, probably don't even really need to have a car,
Yeah. Yeah.
but I have one nonetheless. And a lot of things like that. So to answer your question, I would say that probably between 25 and 2,800 a month, something like that is can get it done. Maybe a gust up to 3 grand.
Yeah.
Um, you can get a really nice place. You can live very comfortably. Um, you can do the things that you want to do. I mean, obviously, if you're going out to the bars and you're whatever, I mean, everybody is going to set their own budget.
Yeah.
Now, is it possible to live here for much less than that? Absolutely.
Sure.
But, I've got, as you can see here, we've got a nice place out in the country. When we move into town, we've got a private rooftop that overlooks the city and our own like outdoor kitchen installed there. And, it's probably 150 or 160 square meters, which
Wow.
is huge. It's ginormous. Who needs that? Nobody needs that.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean,
Right.
but it's what we're doing, and we're going to enjoy it, and it's going to be great.
Yeah. Well said. What are the rentals? So you're in this mountain town. Getting an apartment up there, what are you paying for? This place looks beautiful. How much can a rental go for up there?
Yeah, so this one is just under 5 million pesos a month, uh,
Okay.
4.5, and that includes most of the things, it includes the internet and includes a good chunk of the utilities and so forth. So call it 5 million pesos all in.
All right. So, and then heading down to Medellin, do the prices go up in cost?
The prices are adjusted by what's called the Estrado system. And so basically, they've got 6 levels of income or affluency. Think of it as like an affluency rating.
Hmm.
And so if you're at a strato 3 or below, that's impoverished.
Yes.
If you're a 4 to 5, that's kind of middle class, upper middle class. If you're a 5, 6, that's upper middle class to
Okay.
well. So you can spend as little or as much as you need or wish to spend in Medellin. We found a place that was unique and that was affordable, and we were very patient. I think that if you come here and all you do is look at like Facebook Marketplace and you don't do your own due diligence and you're not patient, you probably won't find the nicest thing that you could have found.
Yeah.
Uh, Maybe your timeline doesn't allow for that. We were already here, so it was
Hmm.
much easier.
Yeah, yeah. All right. Well, thanks for that, Wayne. Okay, so the next thing is healthcare. Everybody needs healthcare. What are you doing for healthcare in Colombia?
Well, of course, I've got Medicare in the States, which
Okay.
mean which means nothing at all here. And I specifically do not have the Medicare Advantage. I stayed on the old, good, tried and true stuff in the States. So there is literally not a single penny of benefit that's going to happen in Colombia. However, I recently had a bunch of tests done. For instance, endoscopy, ultrasounds, CAT scans, all this stuff. And what I discovered is that um, it was affordable and easy. Like, doc says, "Hey, I want you to go get this," and I'm like, "Okay, well, who do I talk to?" He says, "I'll check with these people." And I'm like, "Okay," so I check with those people, and they're like, "When do you want to come in?" And I'm like, "I don't know, what's the next available?" And they're like, "An hour." And I'm like, "Wait, what?" And they're like, "Yeah, you can just come in now,
Yeah.
or tomorrow, or Friday, or what." It was just available. So that was the first big thing. Um, and the second big thing was I had something that I just happened to know from a friend of mine in the States would have been several $1,000s in tests, and it cost me in U.S. dollars less than $300.
Yeah.
Um, and so I'm not concerned. Now, there's a policy like if the part of the requirements of getting your visa is you must have a policy that will repatriate your dead body back to the country of origin.
Uh-huh.
Uh, and it does pay for certain big things. And so I've got this backdrop, if you will, of catastrophic, holy crap, or if I in fact died,
Yeah.
then what kind of thing, required to have that kind of coverage. But for the day-to-day stuff and even some of the larger tests, it's extremely affordable, very high quality, and maybe equally important, available.
All right. Good information. So you're paying out of pocket in Colombia. If anything major happens, you're going to fly back to the States and use your Medicare.
Exactly. And we're what, a 3 hour flight away, 4 hour, I guess.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So what was your biggest shock about living there? What's been your biggest shock about living there so far?
My biggest shock was underestimating the value of speaking fluent Spanish. That was a I wish I'd spent more time learning Spanish. So that was one thing. Now, can you get by with translation apps and all this kind of stuff? Yeah, sure you can. But man, it slows everything down. My experience of the Colombian people has been that if you show a modicum of effort, um, you know, I mean, one of the first phrases I learned, and I'm going to butcher this still to this day, I'm sure, was "Estoy aprendiendo español, pico a pico." I am trying to learn Spanish
Yeah,
little by
a
little.
little.
And man, they just howl and nod and smile and go, they acknowledge the effort. Um, And so I'm learning, I'm getting better at all the time. I can order a meal and I can even get gas at the gas station now without having to like think about it. Things like that. So, it would have been a lot easier had I been able to do that. The hardest part is talking to somebody over the phone, like to get a delivery
Sure.
or something like that. I still struggle with that.
Yeah.
Uh, Thank goodness almost everybody in the world uses WhatsApp now on a text level. So it lets me create the illusion of being more Spanish fluent than I am. But I would say that was probably one of the biggest shocks. I underestimated the value just in a day-to-day life experience of having Spanish skills.
Okay. Yeah, great information. Excellent information. Are you taking any classes or doing any of the apps to develop that language or?
Well, I'm a nerd. I probably did. Maybe I didn't that. So uh, I used AI to develop a little website app that I use that helps me with translations and things. Because what I discovered is like Google Translate and then the other apps, they don't really have the paisa flavor uh,
Hmm.
and the local dialect, the local nuances. You can say things in Spanish and it's correct and they'll understand it. But, things like using like Medigala instead of another more formal Spanish approach, you will be treated differently, and you'll get a different response from people that live here if you use some of the local colloquialisms and stuff. So
Hmm.
that's really the tool I'm using.
Okay. All right. Well, Wayne, you've been there for a while now. So who should not move to Colombia?
I think that the people I've met, and even in the short time that I've been here, I've seen people come and go. They just bounced off. They
Yeah.
just couldn't do it. I've seen people that were here much longer than me also exit. And usually it's folks that want the world to accommodate them. They want things to be the way they want them to be. I don't know, maybe kind of a Karen, to use a US term. It's like they think if they stamp their foot or they say it hard enough, loud enough, long enough, whatever, people are just gonna, and you know what? People here do not give a rat's patootie about
Yeah.
any of that, okay? They are not gonna respond to your volume. They're not gonna respond to your demands. They don't give a crap about
Yeah.
how you feel about things. Things happen here a certain way and in a certain time frame. And if you can't become okay with that, man, you're just going to be a frustrated individual all the time.
Yeah.
On the other hand, if you can get the hang of mañana,
Yeah.
you can learn to be a little more tranquilo and let things take an extra day or two or 10 or whatever. I mean, if you're not bleeding out, man, come on. What really, seriously, what's the rush? I know Amazon in the States could have had it here in 2 hours, but guess what? You're not there.
Yeah.
Instead, why don't you just go find a nice place down the street, find out what the menu del dia is, and have an extra coffee, whatever. I mean,
Yeah.
grab an arepa and
Right.
chill out.
Yeah. Yeah. Out of curiosity, what does the menu del dia go for? If you go out for a nice lunch, what do you pay for
It can be anywhere from 8 to 10,000 pesos up to maybe 25,000 pesos. So it's
Okay.
extremely affordable. And it's good food. I mean, I've got a couple of places that I've scoped out in the local area up here in Las Palmas that I walk in and someone in the back starts making the stuff already because they know exactly I get this. I'm very boring. It's like I
Yeah.
know what they produce that I like and I ask for it every day. It's
Yeah.
quite often on the menu del dia, but even if it's not,
All right. Any last words about the viewers that are watching this, considering moving or retiring to Colombia? Any last words you can think of?
oh, I would just say that you really need to come and spend some time in a place. And you can watch as many YouTubes and you can read all the blogs and you can do all the things, but you're not going to be able to experience the culture, the people, and just find out if you're a good fit or not. You're not going to do that in a week-long visit either. Maybe that's a good opportunity to come and find out like the areas you want to explore more carefully. But you really ought to come and spend a month or two if you can and really get a sense of the place and how it makes you feel, because at the end of the day, that's really what matters as far as your ability to live someplace long term. Don't you think, Ray? That, I mean, it's really like, what's your life experience on a day-to-day basis, right?
Yeah, no, it's well said, and you can't say it any better than that. And it's very true. You've explored the world, you scouted out a lot of places, but when you got to Colombia, you knew it was right for you. And that's how important it is. If you have the ability to scout something out, do it. Well, Wayne Sheppard, thanks so much for taking the time to share all this wonderful information. I truly appreciate it.
My pleasure, Ray. Thank you.